Hello, Younger Old here, and welcome to my channel. This video is more for somebody who's thinking about learning to ride and getting a bike. New riders. But however, that doesn't mean you can't watch it if you've already passed your test and ride a bike. So you might find something of interest in it for yourself as well. So cue the intro and watch the video. The first thing you really got to ask yourself is, what will you be using the bike for? What do you want it for? If you want to ride anything bigger than a 125cc, or you carry a pillion, ride on the motorway, you will need to obtain a full motorbike licence. Either way, the first thing you'll have to do is pass your CBT, or compulsory basic training. Now some schools will actually do like a get on or a try it out session, where you have an hour or so on the training yard with an instructor, and then you usually charge a small fee for this, and sometimes actually lend you helmets, etc. It's like a try before you buy to see if riding is right for you. A CBT is roughly a day's course with 5 elements that involve some classroom discussion, then the use of controls and basic safety checks, learning to ride the bike, and complete a list of set exercises on the training yard. Then you basically have another classroom discussion about roadcraft and safety. Finally, a minimum of a 2-hour road ride followed by your instructor. Once you have passed your CBT, you can then legally ride a 125cc bike on the road. A CBT though will only last you for 2 years. Once you've passed your CBT, you can then progress to get your full licence should you wish to. If you're 24 or over, you can actually take the direct access route to get a full A licence, and that will enable you to ride any power of bike. However, if you're under 24, you can ride what they call an A2 licence, which means you'll have to ride a restricted power bike. You will take your test on that bike. A full A licence can then be obtained at a later date. After 2 years of passing your A2, providing you're still under 24, a lot of people tend to just wait till the 24 to save having to retake the test. To take either of the full licence tests though, you must pass a theory first. Right, now comes the hard part, and that is decided what bike you're going to buy and what you want it for. It's no use trying to get the latest sports bike if you fancy off-roading or green lane riding. The first thing you'll actually realise is one bike is not enough. We've all been there. The maximum I have owned at the same time was 3, but I know some people who have got far more bikes than that. Now I'm 6'2" and of a large build. In fact, since the last lockdown, it's a little bit too large, too many coffees and digestives. But sports bikes have never been really that comfortable for me, especially for the longer journeys that I like to do. This is where the sports tourer comes in, and they've always been my preferred bike. They tend to be larger, but they still have a sportish look about them, but they do have a little bit more comfort. Basically, it's in between a sports bike and a tourer, but yeah, they look a little bit sportier than an outright tourer. A cruiser might be your style of bike. They're very comfortable and they're quite good for touring, I think due to the relaxed seating position, but you know, they're not going to be as light or as nimble. I used to love my Harley, I enjoyed riding it, but you know, I wouldn't want to do a track day on it. Adventure style bikes, I mean, they're sort of very popular at the minute. They seem to be sort of taking over the market, but they're quite tall bikes, which does actually suit me as a tall rider. I tried some recently actually because I did fancy getting one, but my wife is not so tall and she had a problem sort of climbing onto the high pillion seat. The rear footrest seemed a lot higher than what it did on the bikes we normally ride. Off-road bikes, they're designed to do you know, as it says on the tin, and ride off-road. However, you do see a lot of people riding them on the road as well. You've got naked or street bikes, as they're known, but they're basically a sports bike but without the fairings, so it's more sort of upright sitting positions, probably not as low bars, but they do have a more aggressive street look. I must admit, I do like the look of those, but I've not yet sort of found one with a decent enough back seat for the good lady and for carrying luggage. Now, engine size, that's a bit of a debatable one. Since I passed my test, the smallest bike I've owned was 955cc, but size does not mean speed. When I had my ZR 1400, I got out for a ride with a mate on a 600, and around the bends he was so light and nimble, it was actually quicker than myself. But I don't see him ever having a problem where he wasn't keeping up with me. Even a 600, you know, it's still going to get you banned within a quick flick of a wrist. Now, my Harley was 1450cc, and even after it had a Dynajet and tune, it was still only pushed out about 86 brake horsepower. Now, my ZR were pushing around 200 brake horsepower. The Harley had so much low down grunt that when you were pulling off, it felt like your arms were being pulled out of the sockets. Fantastic feeling. But due to the short rev range, it was all over very quickly. It wasn't meant for high speeds. The GTR 1400 has the same engine as the ZR 1400, but the GTR is detuned to give it better mid-range for touring. Does it matter that the GTR tops out around 160 miles per hour against the ZR's 190 miles an hour? Being realistic, we're not going to use that kind of speeds. Insurance will play a large part in making the decision, because as a first-time rider wanting a superbike, you can actually find some companies just wouldn't even quote you at all. So make sure you shop around, as some insurance companies will now mirror, as they call it, or take into account your car no claims bonus should you have any. I chose not to own a car for 5 years, so therefore I lost all my no claims. However, my bike insurance company, the one I'm still with now, started doing car insurance, and they actually did give me discounts because of all my years of no claims gained by riding a motorbike. So it's worth checking it out. It's absolutely essential, I can't stress this enough, that you need to make sure you've got good protective clothing for when you're riding your bike. You see people going along in shorts and a t-shirt or just a thin pair of jogging trousers. At the end of the day, and their excuse is, well, I'm not going fast, I'm only going round the corner, just going round to the shop. But the car driver who's on his phone who knocks you off won't consider that. Just think about walking at the average 4 miles an hour. You trip up, you put your hands out. That's it, you can skin your palms. So even riding a 50cc bike, doing 30 miles an hour, you come off, you're going to get serious gravel rash, and that's going to hurt. Especially when you're laying on a hospital bed, having little bits of stones picked out your arse and other parts of your body, and then thinking, how much skin grafting am I going to need to put this right? You see guys riding, full race leathers, and it's great for sports bikes, but then, dressing up like a Power Ranger, you will not look as good riding a Harley. So if you're riding something like a Harley, you can still have protective clothes. You can still have a nice jacket, a pair of armed Kevlar jeans, boots and gloves, so you've still got some protection. For my needs, I prefer a waterproof jacket, textile one, and trousers. But if it's a nice day, I must admit, I'll probably swap out the trousers for a pair of Kevlar jeans. I've actually done a couple of videos on motorbike safety clothing, so check them out. So do not rush your decision as what to get, be it bike or clothing. Obviously, if you make a mistake, it's going to be an expensive one. Listen to other riders. There's plenty of advice here on YouTube, but do your own research, shop around. and you should get what you require or need within your chosen budget. So thanks for watching, and I hope you found it interesting. After you finish watching the video, please make 2 little clicks. One is to like and the other one is to subscribe. And once again, all that's left for me to say for now is ride safe, take care, and bye for now.